Hello and welcome to our Year with the Ears, our daily vlog where we relive our year living in the Walt Disney World resorts in 2019. Today is day 191.
This morning we got up very early here at Coronado Springs in the brand new tower because we want to be a part of the fun run. Before that though, we want to make sure we get breakfast because if we are doing the fun run, we want to have something in us before we do that. So we headed up to the club level lounge to see what they had for breakfast. We got up there and found a much larger spread than we expected. Most lounges have pretty basic things for breakfast. However, this lounge had a huge assortment of things. They started with bacon and eggs, which Robert was super excited about because it's like real breakfast. They of course had cereal for little kids, you know, the adults eat it too, but for little kids. Lots of meats and cheeses to choose from, a ton of pastry options that we could choose from as well. They had a variety of juices and of course coffee and tea for those who enjoyed that. And then on the next bar, they had even more breakfast items. They had smoked salmon, boiled eggs, oatmeal with all the toppings you could possibly need, and more bacon and eggs. So we had plenty of breakfast to choose from. It was really nice to have so many different options.
It was great because they had actual substantial food, which not all club levels have, especially for breakfast, other than just like an oatmeal or something like that. So having actual bacon and eggs along with all the pastries and meats and cheeses and stuff was great. And they have a really cool coffee machine here. It is not a Nespresso machine. It's totally different than any of the other club levels. This machine grinds the beans right there when you choose from this fancy digital display what type of coffee you want, and then it makes whatever coffee you want right there for you. It was really different, but it was pretty cool and made a really good cup of coffee.
We finished our breakfast and headed down to where we were supposed to meet for the fun run. And we were the only ones there. We're like, well, this is unusual. Normally the cast members are here very early setting up. And so we thought, well, maybe it got moved. We're not really sure where to go. So we went up to the front desk and they're like, no, that's where it's supposed to be. I'm like, there's nobody there. Did they cancel it? Is there a chance like maybe there's some lightning nearby we didn't know about? They're like, I don't think so, but let's call. So they went ahead and called the recreation team. But because no one was there, because they were all taking care of the fun run, no one was in the main area, so they had to call another department who then transferred them to the outside cast members, only to find out that they had moved the location and there was a sign outside, we just didn't see it. So, oops. So they sent us over there, and by the time we walked all the way to the other side of Coronado Springs, this very large resort, it had already started and the two people that showed up had already finished their fun run. We felt really bad and figured we had missed it. We're like, I'm so sorry, we just didn't see the sign out there. We were in the main lobby area thinking that's where we were supposed to be, and we saw the sign and she goes, I'm so sorry. They printed that it was supposed to be here, but we haven't moved it yet because we have to get permission to do certain things, and we were afraid because the tower had just reopened that they would be in the way because so many people were still coming in for the reopening. So they apologized and ended up allowing us to still do the fun run, even though we were very late to it. Everyone else had finished. They're like, nope, we're here. Normally people take a little longer. The two ladies had run the whole thing. The cast members were more than happy to do the whole thing for us. So we signed our waiver forms, got set up, and they even said ready, set, go. They waved the flags and everything. It was adorable. And we were so excited to be able to do this. It was beautiful. Coronado Springs is a gorgeous resort anyway, but that early in the morning to have those beautiful views, and the cast members were so much fun. None of them acted like we were taking extra time away from them. One had a Mickey hand that he was holding up, guiding us where to go. Several others had maracas and they were ringing those. It was so much fun. And we were so glad we got to do this, because it ended up being such an amazing experience because they made us have the best morning ever. And I was really glad that we made ourselves get up this morning, that we went ahead and tried to find the fun run. Even though it had not been moved yet, even though it took a little longer to do everything, we were so thrilled with this experience. It was one of the best fun runs we've ever done.
When we got to the finish line, they had some props for us to take pictures with, so of course we had to use those. And they gave us our prize, which was a really nice Coronado Springs water bottle. Really cool looking, and I was like, hey, this is a pretty good prize. They said, well, if you like the prize now, just come back in a month or so. We're going to be changing up the prizes. We can't tell you what it is yet, but we have ordered it. It's on the way. So just check back in a few months and you might like that prize even better. We headed back inside and Alyssa and her sister went back up to the room. I went over to the fitness center because I hadn't really run on the fun run and it was also getting really hot outside. So I decided to go and use the brand new fitness center they have. They had some Cliff Bars there in the fitness center for free if you wanted those. That was kind of a big surprise because I've never seen free snacks in any of the fitness centers before. And when I got over to the treadmill, I didn't realize this thing has a TV built into it. And of course you can watch TV like normal, but you can also set it up for things like the beach. So it looks like you're running on the beach while you're running on the treadmill, minus all the difficulty of running on sand. So I kind of like running on the beach on a treadmill better than the real thing because it's not as hard.
My sister and I got ready for the day and she was packing up because today is the day she is flying home. We have really enjoyed having her for 2 weeks here. I'm very much going to miss her, but I'm very grateful for the time we had. When Robert was done working out, he came upstairs to the room as well. He got ready for the day and then we headed up to the club level lounge because if you remember yesterday, we saw all those games in the lounge. There's nothing like just playing old-fashioned board games together and having fun. So we spent several hours playing Scrabble and then we really wanted to play cards. And one thing that my family enjoys doing is we bet with quarters so that it's not a huge amount of money, but there's still something at stake. Well, we didn't have any quarters, we didn't have any cash really on hand, and so we went with the next best thing. All those Ghirardelli chocolates that they have there in the lounge, yes, that is what we bet with. And we each had a different color, and so that's what we used. So instead of quarters, we used chocolates, and I gotta say, I was not angry about this. However, Robert did win, and he got all of the chocolate, so I was a little upset about that. But we had so much fun doing this, and it looked hilarious because I think some people were trying to figure out what we were doing with them because we just had this like pile of chocolates. There was a method to our madness, believe it or not, but we were betting with Ghirardelli chocolates and we really should start doing that from now on versus quarters. We kept playing and of course snacked while we were in the lounge until it was time for my sister to go. And I walked her out to the bus, we said our goodbyes, and waved her on as she headed to the airport on Magical Express.
Much like last night's dinner, they had an assortment of smaller hors d'oeuvres, including the tomato bread, just like we had up at Toledo last night. They also had some vegetables and fruits and cheeses and meats, all the small things that you kind of expect there in the club level lounges around dinner time. Then they had a couple main dishes that didn't have labels on them, so we weren't quite sure what they were. But by looking at it, I can tell you that one of them is definitely quesadillas. They looked really good. And the other was definitely some type of chop, probably a lamb chop based on what it looked like. I'm pretty sure that's what it is. Eventually they did bring out signs, but at this point we had no idea what it was and we were just gonna try everything.
The lamb was incredible. We absolutely loved it. And weirdly, it was served with chips. And we tried it with the chips because we're like, well, if that's how they're serving it, clearly it's supposed to be with that. It was really good. It added a really nice crunch to it. The quesadillas were actually jackfruit quesadillas, which we were unaware of until we took a bite of them and realized it was indeed not chicken. Turns out we don't like jackfruit in quesadillas.
Yeah, no.
So we did try it though. We can say we tried it. It's something we've had and not something we enjoyed.
So instead we just went back and got more of the lamb and some of the other things they had there because that was, not a big fan of jackfruit. After we finished our dinner, we had some friends that are cast members who had not been to Grand Casino Tower yet. They haven't seen it. And we had texted them all earlier in our group chat and said, hey, if you guys want to come and like check out the resort and hang out for a little while, we'd love to have you over. So they came over. We had several of them show up and we took them around the tower, showed them around a little bit, showed them our really cool room. Of course, we can't take them to club level because they're not on the room. We're not paying for that. So we took them to the room. They were loving the room and how big it was and everything. And after hanging out and talking for a while, we realized it was time for desserts. And we don't want to miss desserts. We didn't go last night because we were up at Toledo having dinner. So we're going to make sure we go to dessert. We said, okay, you guys, you can hang out here in the room. We're going to go get some desserts. We'll eat a few things and we'll come back down and hang out for a little while longer. Just, have fun, hang out in the room here for a while.
We went up to the lounge and I was pleasantly surprised to find they had a strawberry and also a chocolate Mickey Mouse shaped mousse. I did not try the strawberry one, but Robert said it was really good.
It was very good.
The chocolate one, however, was incredibly sweet, very chocolatey, and exactly what I wanted. It had a nice chocolate shell, the mousse inside, and of course it's a Mickey head, so that made it even cuter. This was probably my favorite dessert that they had the entire time we were here.
But I will say they totally missed the opportunity to call it Mickey Mousse. I mean, it's right there. It's literally right there. Just, no, it's chocolate mousse in a Mickey tart or whatever.
I think someone had the idea and it got shut down.
They probably did get shut down on that one. In addition to that, they also had a bunch of little candies and sweets. They had a plate of assorted macaroons with tons of different flavors there. Of course, Alyssa can't have the food coloring, but she did try the chocolate ones. And they also had some truffles, which the truffles were really good. I know they have Ghirardelli chocolate up here normally, but I'd rather have the truffles because they were awesome.
While we were up there enjoying our desserts and getting seconds because they were so good, we both got a notification on our phones at the same time, which usually means that we were both texted at the same time. We looked down and it was a photo. Apparently, our friends were having a lot of fun in the room. They were pretending to hide from us for when we came back, and we could not stop laughing at the photos that just kept coming through. They each had found a place in the room to hide where we couldn't see them, and it was the funniest, most amazing thing. So when we finally went back down there, I was like, okay, that was amazing. I wish you guys could have seen our faces when we opened up the text to find these pictures.
So we stayed there in our room just chatting with them for a little while longer before they all had to head home because they do have work tomorrow. And that was the end of our day today. So we'll see you tomorrow
for our Year with the Ears.